Would you like to earn yourself some extra money this Christmas? Maybe you want to buy a gift for your friend, for your family. Maybe you want to donate some money to charity. Well, why don't you check out Profit Accumulator? So to find out more and to sign up, check the link in the description and get involved right now with Profit Accumulator.
Hi and welcome along to AFTV. We are back with the Tactical Insight Show with myself, Cecil G, and due to recent events against Burnley, we have to bring double power in analysing the game because, listen, we're not in a good space at the moment. So we have the return of Graham. We haven't obviously officially met, but this is our first meeting. How are you? It's good to have you back.
I'm not doing too bad, thanks, Cecil. Nice to be here with you and James today. Obviously been a very difficult period for me the last couple of months because I lost my mother. And the reason I support Arsenal, really, my love of Arsenal came from my father, who was a massive Arsenal fan. But obviously the passing of my mum has hit me hard because a part of me died with her when she passed away. So I've been pretty numb to these Arsenal performances over the last couple of months. But do you know what? Mum would have wanted me to get back into this, and it's great to be up here looking at yesterday's debacle against Burnley to start with today.
Yes, and we send our condolences to that as well, and sorry to hear about your mum. But we are so happy to have you back. Honestly, it's the Tactical Insights hasn't been the same, so it's lovely to have you back. And also we have James B with us as well to help along. It's nice to have double power. Double power.
The fans
today.
have been calling for you, Graham.
Yeah,
they have. You know, where's Graham? What's Graham doing?
And to be honest, I want to thank everybody on Arsenal Fan TV, Robbie, who sent messages of condolences to my family, and also to the people who watch Arsenal Fan TV, who sent me lots of messages as well. So thanks to everybody, and it's great to be back.
Perfect. Right, well, we're going to have to get into it. We're going to have to get into yesterday. I need to know, have you ever seen Arsenal this bad in your lifetime? Because I know certainly I haven't since supporting Arsenal, but did you guys both? Graham, start with you.
Probably not. I've been an Arsenal fan for 50 years. And since 1970, and this is the lowest I've felt being an Arsenal fan. Yesterday was our fourth straight home league defeat. And the last time we did that was 2 years before I was born, in 1959. We haven't won at home since October the 4th, when we beat Sheffield United. We've lost 7 of our last 10 Premier League games, and we haven't scored in 6 of them. And we've now gone 740 minutes without a goal from open play.
Yeah.
We gave Aubameyang a £300,000 a week contract. We bought William, and together, William, I think, has found Aubameyang something like 14 times in 11 Premier League games with passes in that time.
Terrible.
So it's clearly not working. We're not getting the best out of Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to break it down today to find out why that's happening and what we can do to change that, because fundamentally, we need to be getting more out of Aubameyang. He's our big player.
Yeah, agreed. James, now, I know we're the same age, so I'm expecting you to have not seen Arsenal this bad.
Never.
Yeah, same.
Never. And the things I used to rely on as a club, when things went, you talk about the trophy drought, the 9 years without winning a trophy, not challenging for the title. The things I took pride in, the way the club operates, the football we play, the nurturing of youngsters, the talents we had. I can't even hang my hat on those anymore, I can't even say the football's good. I can't even say the club seems to be operating with a degree of class. I mean, and I don't know how you feel about it. We've actually not spoken too much about that side, but, you hear about these fallings out and everything going on. It's just a complete and utter mess. So for not just footballing reasons, no, I've never, ever known the club in this much of a mess, and it's really upsetting. Yeah,
I want to punch in what you just said there. It's not even just the footballing reasons. It's everything at the club right now just seems a mess. We're hearing stories and stuff. It's not, I've never seen Arsenal like this. And normally I can see a brighter future ahead, but right now, I really don't. So I agree with you there, James and Graham as well. It's not a great time. It's not a great time. But let's get into it and break it down. So we've got the 2 formations of both teams yesterday. I know we went through this in our pre-match build-up show, and we kind of said how we can break them down and what we're looking to expect. And we was proven right because, the result shows it. But let's get into it, guys.
Yeah, we set up yesterday in a 4-2-3-1 system. Bellerin at right back, Holding and Gabriel in the middle, and Tierney on the left. You had Xhaka and Elneny as the holding 2 midfielders. And then you've got Lacazette in the number 10 role, Willian on the right side, Saka on the left, and Aubameyang through the middle.
Were you happy to see the players that started yesterday before when the lineups got announced? Were you happy with the choices, or do you disagree with some players being in the starting 11 yesterday? I want to know both your thoughts actually on that.
I think that he had to make changes yesterday, Cecil. You can't keep playing the same failing players every week. And there were key areas of the team, I think, that he's an inexperienced manager who's putting his trust in experienced players, and they're failing him. William is not working on the right-hand side. The combination with Bellerin isn't working. There's a lack of chemistry down that side.
Yeah.
They find each other quite a lot. Her highest pass completion rate, I think, was Bellerin to William or William to Bellerin, but fundamentally didn't create hardly anything.
Yep.
Lacazette in that number 10 role for me, Cecil.
Talk to me.
I just don't like it.
Seriously?
I don't like it.
You don't think he is obviously? I don't think he likes it. I've said this many times. I don't think he likes it, but he does hold up the ball well. But again, the players are. I mean, do you think it's to the players around him, or do you just don't think it's right for him, or do you think he's better off?
It's a combination of everything, isn't it? But he's just not right for that role. And I think some of the youngsters did enough in the game in the week to be putting their hands forward and playing. Yeah. I think there was an argument for Smith Rowe playing at number 10.
Massively.
There was an argument for Maitland-Niles playing in central midfield.
Agreed. And
they're the two off the top of my head that I would have thought he might have considered.
Yeah, even like Balogun, I know he may not play that 10 role, but we've seen a lot of brightly stuff from him when he's been involved. So, yeah, you make a great point there.
And I think, to be fair, and we touch on this later in the video, I think we're a back 5 team with the players he's got.
Okay. Yes.
I do not think we're a back 4 team. And I think the spaces are too big in this team. You've got defenders who don't win their duels. You've got midfielders who empty spaces and don't recover their spaces quick enough.
Big.
And you've got forwards playing without freedom or confidence. Yeah. There is a lack of confidence in this team, Cecil.
I agree. James, anything you want to say on that as well?
Graham, you've been so polite about it. I could not on earth, I could not believe that Bellerin and Xhaka started that game. I think it's incredible that they're now both suspended, almost like the footballing gods have done their work. Like, Arteta won't make the decision, so we've had to take it to our own hands.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I know I'm being harsh, but I couldn't believe it. I tweeted that I was disgusted with the 11 because I think a big part of football is, you've got to earn your right to be in that team. And he talks about the non-negotiables. Well, if Xhaka and Bellerin are making so many errors, then it's more than just them two. It is more than just them two. And I want to stress that. I don't mean to scapegoat anyone. There's problems throughout the whole club. But them two in particular have struggled in recent weeks, have cost manager after manager with various errors. And the reason I pick out those two is because there are players ready to step in. Maitland-Niles, as you pointed out, maybe Cedric at right back, Smith Rowe, Willock, Ceballos, who looked really bright when he came on. So I just thought, I can understand him forcing Willian out on the right because Nelson had a head injury, Pepe suspended, and he's trying to make something happen. But those two positions in particular, I just thought it was disgraceful. I was really, really let down.
I think the thing is, just touching on the 4-2-3-1, before we quickly look at Burnley, if you're going to play Aubameyang at centre forward, you need a number 10 who's going to be able the guile to get them in the positions and the skill to play him in behind.
100%.
Need that quality.
100%.
We haven't got it with Lacazette at number 10. So if you're going to, you might as well push Aubameyang back out wide left. If you're going to play, you need to create a number 10 between the lines who understands that position, who's going to get Aubameyang
on the ball, or put through the gaps. Yeah,
exactly
that, Graham.
Completely agree.
100% agree. I mean, we spoke about it yesterday, and I just want to we're going to come back to this point. Obviously, Xhaka and Bellerin aren't available now for the next game. If we get a win due to this, let's say if we get a win, and because they're out the squad, but they get a win, do you say it's good of Arteta of the choice he makes whoever brings in, or do you say, well, it's still bad on Arteta because they've been forced out? Because I agree with you, I don't think they should have been in the starting 11, but he was. So I just want to ask that question.
Well, I think we should ponder that one because we've got a little section later on Arteta. But for me, the decision in my mind's kind of been made. But we'll come back to that.
Okay, just quickly looking at the Burnley then, Cecil, before we move on. Typical 4-4-2 team. This is how Dyche sets them up. And you know what you're going to get with Burnley. They're going to look to play long balls towards their strikers, Woods and Rodriguez, down the middle, or they look to break and get it out wide to Brady and McNeil, who are key players. Then Brady on the right side, normally a left-sided player playing on the right, McNeil on the left, and they look to get it in the wide areas and get crosses into Wood and Rodriguez. And they're a very physical team, and you know how they're going to set up and what they're going to play to. They're playing for second, third balls, and they're looking for crosses into the box.
Yeah. And what you said before about having the 10 has to be creative you have to be a very skillful 10 to break down, because they get everyone behind the ball. They get behind
low block.
Exactly that. So trying to break that down is very difficult. And you're right what you said. I don't think, like I said, not to bash him at all, but that's not his best attributes, is picking up and then turning and slipping in Aubameyang and bringing in the midfield runners. So I 100% agree with you there. So well, yeah, we spoke about obviously Xhaka and Bellerin. We spoke about players in our squad. I want to go to the incident. The big incident, the red card, which many people when we were watching yesterday, they thought at first glance wasn't a red card. I said I could see as soon as you put your hand to the neck, it's going to be a red card. I remember it was yesterday watching. I'm sure you saw as well. But it's for a man who's Switzerland's captain, the age he is as well, the experience. I was extremely disappointed in his reaction. I know, Graham, you touched on it back in January 2017 in your fan cam with Robbie.
Granit Xhaka, an absolute pure moment of madness, and I have to say, for all his qualities, he's our marquee signing. At the moment, his record so far this season is he's now been sent off twice, he's given away 2 penalties in games, and he also cost us a goal with a back pass straight across the defence to Sigurdsson when we played Swansea here.
Liability for you at the moment?
At the moment, it's looking like money not well spent, I have to say, and I think...
But do you think he's a liability at the moment? What you've just described there, I mean, that could have cost us seriously. I'm not trying to put the words into your mouth or write any headlines or anything. I'm just saying that it is, at the moment, he is almost being a bit of a liability at the moment.
So, and you were saying how he's a liability. I know Robbie was pushing that narrative, and at the time he was. And I mean, do you still stand by that? It's crazy to think that you spoke about it then, and
do you know
here
what?
we are.
I looked at that video last night. Someone reminded me of it, and Robbie kept pushing the narrative. Is this guy a liability? And I was trying not to say that. But yesterday, he was a liability. He cost us that game. It came, and we touched on the second half. That 13-minute spell at the start of the second half, we were on top. We created 3 big chances. The keeper made 3 good saves. So when he did that, it cost us the game, in my opinion. And I think the thing is with Granit Xhaka, we knew what we were getting with Granit Xhaka, Cecil. When we bought him, no player had been sent off more in any of Europe's top 5 big leagues than Granit Xhaka before we bought him. And he was sent off twice for us in the first 4 months, including that Burnley incident that Robbie was pinning me on. So I think, do you know what? I don't think he's good enough for an Arsenal Football Club. I hate throwing players under the bus. And I just feel the only way we can persevere with him, we've got to, and I hate to say this for an Arsenal player, we've got to literally hide his weaknesses in this team.
It's a big statement, but I have to agree with you. I think all 3 of us don't like to throw players under the bus. We really try not to, but we've given him so much time, and from the performances that we're watching with our own 2 eyes.
But it was Arteta's decision to keep him. Remember that. And the reality is, he's not very good in wide spaces. He's somebody who's very immobile. We talked about.
Say that again.
We talked about the only way you can get something out of Granit Xhaka if you've got either 3 midfielders. He works in a 3 for Switzerland, or if you play a back 5, where the spaces are smaller and the defence and the attack and the midfield are closer together. So he's got those weaknesses are not there. And playing me yesterday in a pivot in front of a back 4 exposes all these weaknesses. And every time he's in in a situation in the pitch, he wants to get out of there. He panics. He just brings the player down. But his reaction yesterday was unforgivable, and basically let the team down, the manager down, and most importantly, the fans down.
Yeah, big time. Now I'm going to move to you, James, but I just want to say as well that very polite again, because I know you're being very polite, Graham. But we will respect, because we have to be here. But it's James, thoughts on Xhaka? Because
look, everything you said, Graham, I completely agree, and I really don't like throwing players under the bus and singling them out. I know I singled out Bellerin and Xhaka there. I stand by what I said about them. With Xhaka, there's always been this kind of like hard man complex about him that he sort of tries to give off this, even in the North London derby, it wasn't going for us. And last week what we needed was a bit of composure, a bit of class in midfield to try and make something happen. And he's throwing himself into challenges, sticking an leg out, lunging into people, almost to say, look how hard I'm trying, look how much I care. We don't buy any of it. It's a load of rubbish, because his sendings off have been for really cynical things, really stupid things. They've never been smart. And sometimes there is such thing as a smart red card or an accidental red card or something that comes out of.
There's never a smart red card.
No, well, no, you're probably
a smart yellow card.
Yeah, a tactical foul. Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but I think of examples like when Jamie Vardy got in behind the Sheffield United defence in like the 90th minute, and you think just bring him down. Yeah, you would have been sent off for that. For me, that's a smart red. Yeah. You know, you play the last minute or two with 10 men, but he went on and scored. Yeah. Sometimes there is a moment where actually, or I don't even mean smart, I mean there's a moment where you can't even help it. Yeah, but these are all so stupid. I think no Arsenal fan anymore is buying into this.
Yeah. We haven't had any smart red cards, I'll tell you that.
And it's no, we definitely haven't. And it's also things like, you know, he's very kind of stuck in with these moments, but then there's moments where you want him to get on the ball and he's getting on it. You probably notice he'll get it in that left back area where, you know, he's having no impact on the game. For me, it's hiding. And I've tried to say that as politely as I can, but I just think there is no future for him at the club anymore. I'm really sorry. I just don't believe there is. I think he's failed under several managers now, and he's let the fans down, as you said very rightly, time and time and time again. I don't see a way back anymore.
Okay, now, obviously there was many more other incidents within the game. We're going to probably take a look at some now, but let's have just the thoughts on how the game went from the beginning. Obviously, Elneny got his yellow card as well, that incident there in the box. But let's discuss it. So first half.
I thought that we don't seem to start games well enough for me at the moment. We start the games very slowly. I think there's a lack of confidence in the team, Cecil. I thought that we weren't moving the ball quick enough from the start.
Yep.
I thought some of the when a player had possession of the ball, players weren't showing for the ball, not connecting.
100%.
Is that confidence? Is that lack of bravery? Is that fear? I don't know what it is. Probably a combination of all three.
Yeah.
And I thought that we weren't great, although we did fathom that half chance in the 12th minute, which Lacazette might have done better from. When he swiveled in the box, and ultimately it goes to Aubameyang. But then, as we're going to show in this first graphic, they shoot straight down the other end and have the first, what I think, big chance of the game.
Yeah, let's watch it here.
Yeah, so what happens is Brady's the one who plays the ball in and Wood gets a free header, and as you see, it goes wide. Now, if you look at that play, it was interesting the way that Bellerin plays Wood on, because Bellerin, when the ball comes in there, James, you see he's attracted by McNeil, so he stays back. Gabriel and Elneny is pushed out.
Yeah.
And playing for the offside, but Bellerin plays Wood on. Wood should score, but he heads it wide. And I know you want to touch on the position of holding there, James.
I think it's nuts. Sorry. You know, you spoke brilliantly earlier about when we had the back five, we're a back five team, and I remember being so structured, and you know what, we were boring, and we all complained about it, we wanted to be more expansive. I never thought we'd get this in return. What I'm looking at here is sort of Xhaka and Tierney both sort of pressing the same man when it comes to Brady. Rob Holding's obviously come out to left back. I don't know what on earth has gone on here, but basically this is what I think is the result of a back four and a team that's trying to press. You know, they say go to your nearest man and fill in. That's kind of what pressing is, isn't it? It's about instinctive going and chasing the ball. But the problem is we don't do it well enough.
I think we make bad decisions as a back four. We always have. And I don't think the players... Gabriel has been outstanding this season, but even he, last couple of games, hasn't been at the level he was a few weeks ago. But I just think there's, in a back four, players make poor decisions. And without the security of a back five, we're vulnerable. We were vulnerable last week at Tottenham. We played high with our fullbacks high, allowed them against a counter-attacking team who just counter-attacked into spaces. And against Burnley, their one strength is playing balls in the box. We do not win our duels. We do not stop crosses coming in, and players do not pick up players. So it's defensively poor from Arsenal in the back four.
Unity and understanding is a big thing. And actually, when you play a back three, you would never play an offside trap with a back three. That's just not a thing anyone ever does. So what's interesting is here, you've got two players, Gabriel, who you see presses up there to play Wood offside. And in fairness, I must stress that this graphic, obviously, it's not perfect. We try to recreate it as best as possible. Yeah. But Gabriel's trying to play him offside, and Bellerin has gone with the run. So there's a complete miscommunication. Almost if we were playing a back three, Gabriel would never have dreamed of pressing up. No. And that's where the players are on a completely different wavelength. And we're very lucky not to be one down there.
Very lucky. I also want to quickly touch on as well, you said about pressing. and pressing and dropping off. I feel how many times this season we've seen the players get hold of the ball and drive, and our players back off all the way till into the box, or even just before the box where they create odd chances. It's very, I don't know if it's a managerial thing. I don't know if they've been told.
I think the reason they back off is because they don't want to get. There's a lack of athletes in our team.
Yeah.
And they don't want to. They don't want to sort of like get him run in a race.
Yeah.
Because there's a lack of speed. So it's easier to back off.
Yeah.
And that's what they do because they don't want to engage because they're frightened of somebody running past them.
I think it was Dwight McNeil who just carried the ball maybe 20 yards, 30 yards with Xhaka and Holding. And you're thinking, why aren't they tackling? And you realise, because it's Xhaka and Holding. And that I don't mean to disrespect, but they're not the most athletic, as you said.
No. And the thing is, there's weaknesses in our team. And Mourinho identified the right side last week with Holding and Bellerin.
Yep.
There's weaknesses in this system he plays at the moment, and it's been exposed by. We got out Burnley yesterday. We were out Tottenham the week before. Rodgers tactically outdid us, and also Nuno did a job on us when he came to the Emirates. So
it's incredible.
We are getting outdone tactically, being found out. The weaknesses in this team are there for everybody to see.
I can only laugh because otherwise I'll cry.
Yeah,
it's just I'm trying to find the light, and again I always do, but it is very painful. And I was going to touch on what's not working for Arsenal and why is it not working, but. We have spoke about it just there, but we can look at the formation change of obviously we went from the 4-2. We're now in the 4-2-3-1. That change I know you want to speak about, and
I think we did create the one big chance in the first half, which I know James is going to show on the graphic.
Oh yes.
And this is the one good bit of football that we played when Xhaka plays it into Laka.
Let's play it. Here we go.
And Laka drives here at the defence, who back off. He looks for Saka, but it ends up Tierney. But when it's pulled back to Laka should do far better.
Yeah.
That was the one piece of good football where we played through the centre of the pitch. Because I thought in the first half, all these crosses that he likes to play now, players were sort of like hiding, I thought, because they were expecting crosses to come in. And that this was the one time we played football through the centre of the pitch, and Lacazette got on the end of a chance, and he should have opened his body up and placed it. I won't say snatched at it, but he just wanted to get it on target. It was the finish of a player short of confidence.
Absolutely.
Not scoring goals, and we really should have taken that chance.
Do you know? I'm gonna let you have your. Do you know? When I was a striker, played at various levels, various teams. The thing that I think Laka suffered with here is that we only get one chance, and that you feel that as a striker, you feel that pressure. So when that came across, I'm sure he was very aware that this may be my one. This is probably my only chance. Other teams, Chelsea's, the Man City's, the strikers won't get one chance. They'll have multiple chances. So they're more confident in rather missing or taking the chance. I feel like Laka here, like we said, this is the only really real chance we really had, and which is against Burnley, which is a problem in itself. But I think he felt the pressure, and that's why it maybe might have hit cleanly across it and got it across Pope's right side. But as a striker, I know you feel the pressure, especially in a team that don't create chances. So it's really frustrating to.
I see exactly what you mean. Yeah, almost like he thought, "Wow, this is it. This is the moment." Yeah. And actually, a striker, especially playing for Arsenal, should feel like there's going to be many moments like that in a game. I agree with you, Graham. This was our best bit of football, and in fairness, we've been very critical. But let's. Bit of praise here. The one bit of praise I can give him, it's that ball from Xhaka into Lacazette and the position he picks up, that's very good. And I've always liked that picking up the ball between Brownhill and me, picking it up in between midfield and defence. It's what we don't do enough of. It's why we're screaming for lots of number 10s. And he's running. And it's also the position of Saka. Because what Saka's done is he's brought Lowton quite in field and Tierney's got that overlap. This is all good football. This is all... It comes from actually three quite intelligent players in Tierney, Saka and Lacazette who've been able to sort of conjure this. Yes, bit of a mistouch by Saka, but it comes back to Tierney. And that cutback from Tierney to Laka has always been by design. We've always looked for the cutback rather than the smash across the box. It's something Arteta's tried to sort of put into the team. So I can see, I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's actually quite encouraging. If we won 2-0 with a couple goals like that, you'd think, maybe there's a bit of hope. They're trying to do the right things. Given the right players, it will come off more often.
Do you think the fact, Cecil, he arrives from outside the box influences the poor finish? If he'd been in the box receiving the ball, would it have been easier for a striker from you playing in that role?
No, I would say him coming onto the ball is better than if you're standing there and you get in and you're waiting for it. One, you're easy to mark. The way Lowton, it was disguised because the way I think Tini thought he was going to play it across the box, but due to the movement all happening at once, he was dragged to the near post instead of, if Lacazette was waiting there, he would have been, I reckon, a smart defender would have been like, this is the only place the ball can go, let me stand here. So him arriving, it probably benefited him. The only thing that was annoying was I think it was just such, again, the pressure of the chance. It probably got to Lacazette. Like, I reckon if that fell to Harry Kane, I know I hate speaking about it, but the way he struck the ball against us and hit the roof of the net, if that was that same finish there, it would have been a goal.
He had a time also to take a touch and then set himself with the shot.
Exactly.
It's rushed.
It's rushed. And I know you might think standing there, he would have time to, but in Premier League level, you don't have that time. If you arrived, you could have took a touch, and opened out. But again, to me, that falls down to the pressure of, I've been in that position. I've felt the pressure of, this might be my only chance. Especially, it happens a lot when you have a one-on-one, like Aubameyang used to do in the finals. But luckily, we're known for Aubameyang to convert them and score. But I don't know, sometimes when Lacazette, I think the whole team's not on form going forward at the moment. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And we did briefly touch on Saka as well. I think he was great yesterday. I think he had one of his better games.
I think he shamed some of the more experienced players.
I think
his
he has
bravery, particularly when we were chasing the game at the end. But he's the one positive, I think, in that role.
Yeah, we always look at the stats, and Saka actually, in a lot of areas, didn't seem to stand out over the likes of Willian and Lacazette. I thought, why? I thought he was a much better player, but where he stood out was when you looked at the pass matrix. He passed the ball to Aubameyang more than any other player. He also received the ball from Lacazette and Aubameyang more than any other player. That tells me, and you look at his touch map as well as across the pitch, rather than Willian, who was much more tucked out to the right, that looked like a player who, to me, was trying to take, onus of the performance, trying to make things happen. An 18-year-old. I mean, I feel ashamed for some of those senior players. I really do.
Some of them hiding.
Yeah, big time, and it's awful that people can have careers of hiding. And honestly, I talk about it all the time. There's players, that can make careers of hiding. But right, we're gonna have to move on to the big topic now. After we broke down the game and whatnot, we've got to look at
second half.
Second half, first half. The Chris Wood chance spoke about that, but the thing I'm talking about here is the manager. What are your thoughts now on Arteta? What?
Well, before we get on to Arteta, I just wanted to touch on the second half.
Oh, okay.
Because if we could. So what disappointed me in this game was that we lost it because for 13 minutes at the start of the second half, we were excellent.
Okay, yes.
I said in the first half we were moving it too slowly, not sort of like passing through the lanes. And second half, for 13 minutes, we sort of started moving the ball quicker.
Yep.
We got passing lanes, people driving forward. We got into some good positions, and the keeper made a couple of good saves. One from Tierney, I remember, in particular. And we were on top. And then Xhaka, madness, changes all that. And he is the 6th player under Arteta to be sent off since he's been manager in the Premier League, which is double worst, the next worst. 3 is the next. And ultimately, we're going to touch on that Burnley goal.
I mean, the Burnley goal for me, at this point, they got their tails up. They're on the front foot. We've actually been quite good from set pieces since Andreas Georgeson came in from Brentford. I think that's the first goal we've conceded from a set piece in the Premier League. Obviously, Dundalk, I think, was the first of the season. I unfortunately don't have the graphic, which is a shame. I mean, it was a cross into the box.
Basically, Burnley play 2 types of crosses. Notice they play one at the near post and one at the far post. So they're the 2 areas they look to hit. Now, you notice that our crosses always seem to go into the middle of the box,
or they don't beat the first man.
But they are very good at delivering to the near post and to the back post stick, and that's what happened. That in-swinging corner from Westwood, Aubameyang is marking Brownhill. I think Brownhill gets a slight touch on it, James, and I think it goes in off Aubameyang. And the irony now, Aubameyang has scored the Emirates for the first time since he signed his new contract.
I shouldn't laugh.
But for the opposition.
Someone tweeted, "We finally converted from a cross."
I thought we chased the game well last quarter of an hour when Xhaka had been sent off, and then I think slightly fortunate not to pick up a red from that corner. By the way, you can't put your hand in. He wasn't even looking at the player, and he put his hand in the guy's face. Could have been a red card. Got lucky there.
Do you think from open play, if the ball was in open play and that happened, I don't know, Burnley were attacking, do you think it would have been a red card if it was looked at again? Or do you think due to it being a corner and the ball not being in play, the refs, it happens obviously in the box a lot, they normally give a yellow card. Do you think, thoughts on it?
Should have been a red anyway for me, if I'm honest.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a red card.
Okay, wow. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I do.
So, but we chased the game last quarter of an hour. I thought we showed spirit, but we couldn't fathom the chance. And ultimately, it's another defeat.
Yeah.
And as you say, we're going to touch on the manager shortly.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to touch on possibly what I think he needs to do to arrest the slide.
Yeah.
Now, on the manager, I know this was going to be a big debate on the manager. Have we got the wrong guy? I did a video with Robbie last year when Ancelotti was available. I thought we should have gone for Ancelotti, I'll be honest with you, the more experienced manager. A big club like Arsenal should not be taking a gamble on any manager. But he came in, he changed us around, and he won a trophy. So you could argue he's bought himself time.
Yeah.
But clearly it's unravelled this season. And it's unravelled for him in a way that I didn't expect. So quickly after winning an FA Cup. I think what's happened to him this year is that he's gone away from the thing that was working really well for him, Cecil.
Yeah.
And that was the back five. We were better in a back five. Players understood their roles. He had a structure in place. We were playing up from the back. We were sort of playing up from the back really well. We talked today about that goal we scored against Man City, 17 passes where we played it out. Tobias and Xhaka were coming in, receiving it, popping it off to the fullback, back to Mustafi, out to Louise. Then we went out wide to Tierney. Laka then dropped him, received it and switched it to Pepe, and we went forward and he played in Aubameyang for an absolutely outstanding goal. That's when we were playing the sort of football I thought that worked under Arteta.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of like we were more structured at the back, five at the back, more solid. It was hiding our weaknesses, players in smaller spaces and able to switch the play and get our best players up front on the ball in areas where they can hurt teams. And we've gone away from that. If he needs to, one thing he needs to do, I think, to arrest his slide, he needs to go back to what was working for him before.
Yeah.
The reason I think he changed it was because the signing of Thomas Partey signalled a change in direction. He's always wanted to go with the back four. And I thought once he thought, I've got Partey now, I can switch to a back four. He would be the shield. But unfortunately, Partey's been injured and barely played. But he's carried on playing the back four with Partey not there. I just can't understand that. And the results have dipped and they're there for everyone to see. I think he needs to go back to doing that. Is he the right man? Only time will tell. I think he's under enormous pressure and it started to show in his body language, the way he's been his reaction at interviews. And at the moment, I think if he doesn't turn this around in the next few results, at any other club, he'd be sacked. The problem you've got at Arsenal is the board have come out and backed him.
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively backed him. Are they going to... It's going to have to get even more dire before they even start talking about it. You've got to remember, the problem is not Arteta. The problem is these players, these inherited. So a manager coming in, Arteta has made a rod for his own back. He keeps picking the same failing players. But showing his inexperience, he wants to pick these experienced players, right? Because he's inexperienced, he doesn't trust the younger players. So, but I think looking at it, they will give him time. The Southampton game now is crucial. Massive game.
I say this every week, but yes.
But in a nutshell, and I say it again, a big club like Arsenal should not be picking coaches who have never managed before. We should be going out buying the big managers. But they went for the cheap option. He was £6 million a year. Ancelotti and Mourinho double that. So we've got we're not being run right at the top, and that's the problem with this. And so we're picking the cheap options. And fundamentally, also, you've got to remember, we've given bad contracts to players. And also, we don't land our transfer targets. What does that tell you? The money's not available. So any manager coming in is going to inherit this squad of players. It's not going to change.
This is what
And that's the problem. But clearly at the moment, it does look like he's out of his depth.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think Arsenal should be the club for offering out work experience, if I'm honest. Honestly.
It's a good way to put it.
It is. James, any thoughts on Arteta, anything you want to say before we close up?
In defence of Arteta, I'll start with the defence and then sort of end it on why I ultimately don't think he's right. But in defence of him, I agree with everything he's saying, Graham. It's these group of players, I really am lost with them. I don't feel a great love for a lot of them. I don't feel connected. I don't what's the word? Identify with a lot of them.
Yep.
What Xhaka did yesterday, just the errors we've been seeing, the attitude. There's so much I don't like about this team right now.
Yep.
And I don't think any manager realistically does. They do better than this. 7th, 8th, maybe. I don't think anyone does realistically where we want to be with this group. I don't really appreciate the involvement of the ownership, the Cronkies and whatnot. Yes, there's been more money available, but I think when you get a manager like Arteta in, you've got to back them properly. Giving him Gabriel, Partey and a free transfer in Willian, I don't think is truly backing a manager. So there's a lot of issues. Recruitment's not right. And big questions on Edu as well.
Yeah.
So I sympathise with Arteta with all of those things, but he lost me yesterday. And the reason he lost me was he had an opportunity to almost do what Lundberg did in his last game, which is basically like, I'm done with all of you, I'm playing the youngsters, and he had Smith Rowe out there, he had Martinelli, and he had Nelson, I think, started, and all these, and he basically said, I'm done with these group, and quite frankly, I'm glad I've not got this job. This is the future. And I think Arteta had an opportunity yesterday against Burnley, who are a struggling team, to basically say, you know what, Jackie, you've let me down, and other managers one too many times. Bellerin, Lacazette, Willian, because I don't want to keep singling out the same two. There's a lot of players who have failed manager time and time again. Holding's not been at it. And he had an opportunity to say, do you know what? Let's see Saliba. Let's see Smith Rowe. Go on, Willock, let's put you in midfield. Maitland-Niles. Let's have a look at something fresh. And let's show the club. Because if we lost with the same result and the same performance and the exact same outcome, but we had the youngsters on, we might be sitting there going, well, actually, before the red card, we were playing quite well. We probably could have won it. Actually, the youngsters seem to have a bit more life about them. Actually, maybe with a couple of players in January and these youngsters getting more experience, come the start of next season, this team starts to look a lot better. But he's lost me, and I think he lost that opportunity personally.
I think that ultimately, my final thing I want to say today is around Aubameyang.
Okay.
They paid the big money to Aubameyang. They've got to get him scoring again. Now, last year, Aubameyang's goals won us the trophy and covered all the deficiencies. He's not scoring this year, and as a result of that, we're struggling. This group of players last year, we have to remember, when we played teams, we were being outshot in games. Emery lost his job because we were being massively outshot in games. Arteta improved it, but we were still being outshot in games, and we were winning games because Aubameyang was taking the chances we created. But this year, teams are taking their chances against us, and Aubameyang's not scoring. So I think Arteta really, if he wants to save his job, in my opinion, he needs to go back to what was working for him before, which is a back five, playing on the counter-attack, sit, and then a lot of football now is played in transition anyway. Mourinho's winning the league with 11 behind the ball. six, the defensive 6, 11 behind the ball, and 2 forwards, which is playing on the counter-attack. That's what we were doing last year. So now we need to go back to it and stop teams shooting at our goal and take our chances. But ultimately, it's all about getting the Aubameyang firing again.
Agreed.
So thank you. Listen, thank you for that, Graham, and thank you. It's been it's been a pleasure having you back. It's honestly, it really has.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for coming back. Honestly, really enjoyed it.
It's been really nice and been able to break it down.
It's a shame we started on such a poor note.
Exactly that. Exactly that. So everyone watching, thank you for watching today's Tactical Insight show, and hopefully things turn around very soon.
Would you like to earn yourself some extra money this Christmas? Maybe you want to buy a gift for your friend, for your family. Maybe you want to donate some money to charity. Well, why don't you check out Profit Accumulator? So to find out more and to sign up, check the link in the description and get involved right now with Profit Accumulator.